What's good, YouTube? It's your boy MC3 back with another reading video. Just did my home workout. And I think today, I read a few pages yesterday, but I think today we might finish this book. I ain't gonna lie. Cause I'm on page like 65, something like that. I might go ahead and finish this month. So, page 65. I don't know, I might finish it, I don't know. Alright, let's get to it. Hall hadn't found any cheese yet, but as he ran through the maze, he thought about what he had already learned. Hall now realized that his new beliefs were encouraging new behaviors. He was behaving differently than when he kept returning to the same cheeseless station. He knew that when you change what you believe, you change what you do. You can believe that a change will harm you and resist it, or you can believe that finding your cheese will help you and embrace the change. It all depends on what you choose to believe, he wrote on the wall. When you see that, you can find and enjoy new cheese, you change course. Hall knew he would be in better shape now if he had dealt with the change much sooner and left Cheese Station C earlier. He would feel stronger in body and spirit, and he could have coped better with the challenge of finding new cheese. And y'all, if I feel like I'm out of breath, in my chest right there, but if I feel like I'm out of breath, I just worked out. So shit, I'm out of breath reading. This more exercise shit. In fact, he probably would have found it by now if he had expected change rather than wasting time denying that the change had already taken place. He used imagination again, saw himself fighting and savoring new cheese. He decided to proceed into the more unknown parts of the maze and found little bits of cheese here and there. Hall began to gain his strength and confidence as he thought back on where he had come from. Hall was glad he had written on the wall in many places he trusted that it would serve as a marked trail for him to follow through the maze. If he ever chose to leave Cheese Station C, Hall just hoped he was headed in the right direction. He thought about the possibility that him would read a handwriting on the wall and find his way. He wrote on the wall what he had been thinking about for some time. Yeah, I'm just gonna read 5 pages. We're gonna call that a video. See, I'm out of breath. Club 520 then. It's 10 o'clock, Club 520 done dropped. So yeah, we're gonna write 3 more pages. We're gonna be cool. Notice small changes early helps you adapt to bigger changes that are to come. By now, Hall had let go of the past and was adapted to the present. He continued on through the maze with greater strength and speed, and before long it happened. When it seemed like he had been in the maze forever, his journey, or at least this part of his journey, ended quickly and happily. Hall proceeded along a corridor that was new to him, rounded a corner, and found new cheese at Cheese Station Inn. When he went inside, he startled by what he saw. Piled high everywhere was the greatest supply of cheese he had ever seen. He didn't recognize all that he saw, as some kinds of cheese were new to him. He wondered for a moment whether it was real or just his imagination, until he saw his old friend Sniff and Scurry. Sniff welcomed Hall with a nod of his head, and Scurry waved his paw. Their fat little bellies showed that they had been here for some time. Hall quickly said his hellos and soon took bites of every one of his favorite cheeses. He pulled off his shoes, tied the laces together, hung them around his neck in case he needed them again. Sniff and Scurry laughed. They nodded their heads in admiration. Then Hall jumped into the new cheese. When he had eaten his fill, he lifted a piece of fresh cheese and made a toast. Hooray for change! As Hall enjoyed the new cheese, he reflected on what he had learned. He realized that when he had been afraid to change, he had been holding on to the illusion of old cheese that was no longer there. So what was it that made him change? Was it the fear of starving to death? Hall smiled as he thought it certainly helped. Then he laughed and realized that he had started to change as soon as he had learned to laugh at himself and at what he had been doing wrong. He realized the fastest way to change is to laugh at your own folly, then you can let go and quickly move on. He knew he had learned something useful about moving on from his mice friend Sniff and Scurry. They kept life simple. They didn't overanalyze or overcomplicate things. When the situation changed and the cheese had been moved, they changed and moved with the cheese. He would remember that Hall had also used his wonderful brain to do what little people do better than mice. He envisioned himself in realistic detail, finding something better, much better. He reflected on the mistakes he had made in the past and used them to plan for his future. He knew that you could learn to deal with change. You could be more aware of the need to keep things simple, be flexible, and move quickly. You do not need to overcomplicate matters or confuse yourself with fearful beliefs. You can notice when the little changes began so that you would be better prepared for the big change that might be coming. He knew he needed to adapt faster, for if you do not adapt in time, you might as well not adapt at all. Page 72. That's my 5 pages for the day. Hopefully y'all read your 5 pages a day. I'm out.